Fishermen can have love for the truckie. Beautiful minds, but we love getting ugly. Risk takers with a clover, man, we love getting lucky. You run, we chase fire, I love when it ducks me. Tones go off, house watch, read the address out. 1075, get up off the magic couch. 500 gallons prepared for the baddest drought. Who else you want on the way when disaster's out? Can't even get a little bit rattled when you enter with exit apparel. Mayday, member down, they'll drag you. You won't get this from every Tom, Dick, and Harry, but here's a view from the top floor with Mickey Farrell.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of A View from the Top Floor. Today I want to talk about the basics and basics under stress and how we build that foundation to success. Failure rarely begins with one big mistake. It's the small ones that we tend to ignore. That's where failure begins. When micro stresses go unchecked, they compound into a tipping point, and that's a macro failure. That's major failure on the fireground. At this point, we're not operating, we are simply surviving. And survival mode is dangerous. We no longer think clearly. There's no instinct, no logic, just confusion. You know, I talk a lot about the higher mind and a high level of thinking under stress. And when I talk about the higher mind, I'm referring to grace under pressure, instinctual movement. And this goes the same for the low level of thinking, or that lower mind per se, where logically speaking, rational thoughts and facts that solve problems in real time. That's where most of our day operates, is that logical thinking, that lower level of thinking. But that time balance transfer, right? The time is a tool. And if we learn how to use time on the fireground to our advantage, it becomes a mastery skill set. We all know that feeling on the fireground when things tend to slow down, and that's a tempo within the fire. That's a tempo within yourself. That comes from understanding that every fire does have a different tempo or a different cadence and a different rhythm. When we put that all together, that is absolute professional firefighting. I don't care if it's a career department or a volunteer department, when you can operate within that flow state, you find that flow of a fire and you can perform and understand where you fit in. That's professional firefighting. Fine line of that time transfer balance, that space between. If we don't navigate this properly, we tend to fail under stress. So how can we navigate this? How can we bring it full circle to have success on the fireground during high levels of stress, high levels of discomfort? And that comes from starting small. Take those micro wins and stack them. Build a foundation of success. Stacking the wins will allow you to gain confidence, and confidence is what will separate you from so many others on the fireground. But how do we get that confidence? It's the basics. The basics build that foundation, and we have to continue to master the basics throughout our career. I see far too often that we're trying to reinvent so many things on the fireground, from search techniques to nozzle advancements. Even with the way that we're designing many of our rigs today, that's the industry interfering with the service. We have to be very careful with this, because this is where we can blur the lines of forward progression. So let's talk about mastering the basics. Stress under forcible entry, and how those door props, they're very good, fundamentally sound if we're doing things correctly, if we're training young firefighters to use the tools the right way. It's the same concept as if you go to the driving range and you don't have a professional teach you how to swing your golf club. You could develop some really bad habits, and then you add a little bit of stress on the back nine, shooting the best match of your life. There's a good chance that you're going to fail under pressure. Flip the script. Baseball, pretty straightforward. You watch a professional baseball player swing that bat, it's a pretty straightforward swing to the naked eye. To the unprofessional, a professional will break down those steps to eye the ball, elbow up, hips first, follow through. One fluid motion. And you break down those steps. Any professional baseball player can break down those steps, and they can tweak your swing. You go to the batting cages and you practice, you become a professional. Now, bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, 2 outs. If you don't have the proper fundamentals of that swing, you will strike out. Same thing on the fire floor. If you come to a door, we have to understand that that door is merely the obstacle to gain position on the fire. I've said that so many times. That's not your task. The task is searching for the fire, searching for life. The door is merely the obstacle to gain position on the fire. That said, under stress, this door can seem like a fortress to get through, even the most simplest doors. We teach a sequential order to young firefighters. 1 through 4. Shock, gap, set, force. Do I agree with all this? Not necessarily. However, this is what we're teaching young firefighters, and that's good. We have to have a foundation. We have to master the foundation. We have to master those basics of forcible entry, because now we add stress. And we are in that time balance transfer of time manipulation and understanding that time is a tool. Logically speaking, we look at this door, we size it up. Logically, it makes sense where the locks are. That time balance transfer, as that stress sets in, especially on the floor above the fire. Real stress, real concern. We have to conquer this door. When you get to 4, you have to have a plan for 5, 6 to 10. However, if you manage your stress and you master the basics, very rarely do you have to go beyond 4 to 5 to 6 to 10. You get through that door 1 through 4. One fluid motion, sequential order. To the naked eye, it looks pretty remarkable. As firefighters, we understand what is happening in real time. Time is a tool. We can manipulate it for our benefit. We can control our breathing. We can see things clearly and allow our mind to control the narrative. That door has to be looked at like a blank canvas, and we all have our different art form in the way we perform, the way we hold the tools, and the way we operate under pressure. It's important that we have the basics sound from day one. I see the probies coming out into the field, and they have the basics. They have a good foundation. The Academy does a phenomenal job at this. It's for us now in the firehouses, from the officers to the senior guys to middle management to the senior probie, to take these firefighters and try to add a little bit of stress. It's really hard to duplicate real life stress during training. I understand that, but we have to elevate the game. We have to bring them down to the bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, or on the back nine, shooting the best game of their life. We need to master the basics. I can't stress that enough. So all this talk about mindset transforming to skill set, I talk about it so much. There's classes being formed all over the country about mastering your mind on the fireground, podcasts, and it goes on and on and on, and that's good. We need that. But all of that is out. It's all out unless we can master the basics and understand that the micro wins throughout our training and throughout our career will build a foundation of success through the basics. So let's stop trying to reinvent the wheel, bring it back to the basics, master them, become proficient at them, becoming a professional firefighter by understanding that low-level thinking is logically speaking, time balance transfer is that time is a tool and we can manipulate it for our benefit, and then switching it over to the high level of thinking of elegance and grace, having animal-like instincts under pressure, under extreme discomfort, controlling our breathing, and mastering the basics will make you a professional firefighter. All right, guys, before I sign off, I just want to remind you that this coming Saturday, May 17th, at the Bergen County Fire Academy in Bergen County, New Jersey, myself, Mike Champo, Anthony Rowett, and Jeremy Donch from National Fire Radio, we're doing a Abby beats leukemia, a dear friend of mine's daughter. It's been a long road for Abby, and this is a family that is a part of the Sparta EMS system as well as the Bergen County EMS system. The entire family is involved with public service, and they've given so much to the communities over the years. I think it's our turn to give back. If you'd like to join us, it's going to be a phenomenal day. We're going to have some laughs, and then there's an after party at a local brew pub. You can get all the information and register at www.nfftf.org, which is the National Firefighter Training Foundation, which is a phenomenal group. I happen to be on the board, very proud of that. We're bringing training on a national level for a fraction of the cost, and the future of it is to bring you training for free. And that's on the national level. Things are building, and this is just one of the events that we're doing to give back to the community, to give back to the fire service, and we're very proud as a foundation to be a part of this. So join us May 17th. It's going to be a great day. If you've never seen any of Mike Champo's lectures before, it's worth the drive. It's worth the trip. I think Mike should have been a stand-up comedian rather than a firefighter, but he gives a great class, and he's a great guy. It's a lot of fun. And then we have Jeremy from National Fire Radio. He's going to be the mediator for the day, just kind of the MC, keeping it going. And then Anthony Rowett coming all the way up from Mobile, Alabama. He's doing an incredible engine company class. I think that this class that he offers really, really hits the nail on the head as far as how engine companies should be operating in the Northeast, especially in the tri-state area. So it's a great class. Happy he's bringing that up from Alabama. So again, May 16th, we'll see you there. Any questions, you can reach out to me, but better off just go to the foundation website. There's a lot of information on there. And if you have any questions, you can email directly to the foundation. All right, guys. Thank you, Fowler. Thanks again for tuning in. Thanks for the support, and I will talk to you soon.